I feel like I need to block everything out and stay focused on my goals. Take over the globe.
In a different mind state. I'm playing for keys like in the streets, I want it my way. Hey, fuck that state, we eating beef, we know that crime pay. They say we dogs and every dog gon' have his dying day. Rockin' that demon SRT, that big is sideways.
We're out here in Mexico and we got another racing video for you guys. We got my G80 M3 on the left and then we got the Demon 170 on the right. I might have lost my mind wanting to race this. This thing makes 1,025 horsepower. It's one of the fastest cars on the market, and today we're gonna be taking our chances and seeing how my G80 will do up against this. Now, this is probably a bad idea, but that's probably why you clicked on this video. You want to see how bad this idea is. And here's Cole, the owner of the Demon 170. You guys have seen him plenty of times on the channel. We're gonna let him talk about all the numbers when it comes to the Demon 170. He also told me it's not your average Demon 170. He has some sort of secret sauce that he just won't tell me. So I guess he'll probably tell me after the race, or maybe hopefully I can get it out of him before the race, because I'm kind of scared.
Factory race car from Dodge. 2023 was the only year they made them. 3,300, a little bit over. So 1025 crank. Now that might be a little underestimated because like back in the day, in the first muscle car era, Ford, GM, Chrysler, they would highly underrate the horsepower rating of their cars. So people would pay cheaper insurance when actually like they would advertise a car made like 300 horsepower. When in reality, it would make like 400 or 500 to the wheels. So they say this thing makes 1,025 horsepower at the crank.
On E85, right?
On E85. That's the thing about this thing. It can run on E85 or 93 or a blend. The computer's so smart that it can adjust on the fly. So
now, quick question. On 93, how much power does this thing make?
I don't know. That's a good question. I know it. Here's the thing about running on 93. To run these on 93, and this is where people get in trouble and like people don't know, you should never race this thing on 93 or go full throttle. 93 in this thing should only be when you can't find 85 because a lot of owners are having problems with these cars and things are going wrong because they try to floor it on 93. And like this thing is just too built for that. It needs the octane.
It needs all that fuel.
And 85, like you could probably get away with E77 because this computer's so smart in here, right? That it won't give you full power if it senses too much 93 octane. So it has to sense a certain amount of ethanol content before it gives you full power. So I don't know what it neuters the power to, but let me pop the hood and I'll show you some special things about this car.
While he's popping the hood, let's talk about my G80 in the meantime. So G80 M3 X Drive has the 8-speed transmission, automatic of course, and it also has downpipes, catless downpipes, has front mount intakes and a full exhaust from X-Force, and it's tuned, well not tuned, it's on a piggyback tune, which is a JB4 on E30. So the DME is not unlocked, it doesn't have a full tune, it just has a JB4, which is essentially tricking the car to make more boost so, you know, we can have more power. And the way it's sitting, it should make about 650 wheel, but I've never put it on a dyno, so I don't know. Now, let's talk about this. I know this probably has double the horsepower of this.
Those some big intakes on there though.
Yeah.
I don't think you had these the last time I seen you.
No, I had them under the hood, and then these are front mount, which look a lot better. And yeah, big shout out to Burger Motorsports for those. But let's talk about this beast now.
Yeah, so some things in this engine bay that make it a little bit different than a regular Hellcat or even a Hellcat Red Eye. You have the brand new 3.0 Whipple or 3.0 supercharger, right? A little bit bigger than, you know, you get the 2.7 on the Red Eyes and you get the 2.4s on the regular Hellcats.
2.3.
Is it 2.3?
Yeah,
I thought it was 2.4. But they're a great blower, but the problem is the bigger the better, just like with everything. The more liters you have, the more horsepower you can make.
Wait, even when it comes to girls, the bigger the better?
Certain areas.
You don't discriminate?
Certain areas.
Okay.
I mean, I don't discriminate. You know, life's an adventure.
You like big girls?
Everything's an adventure. You know what I mean? Everything's
He's
an
trying
adventure.
to stay politically correct. But yeah, so 1,025 horsepower.
Yeah.
Rear wheel drive,
Yep.
8-speed transmission.
Yep.
Is
So-
the motor built from factory?
It's got some special things done to it, like the crank bearings, and that's kind of where they're getting in trouble with these engines. You know, you get some of them blowing up on you, but Mopar Dodge really doesn't want to release everything they did to it. You know, like with the Terminator Cobra, they told you what rods they like. Oh, we use Manly rods in here to get you to buy that, but Dodge doesn't really put that information out. But it is more built, and like one of the special things, it's a yellow block.
Yeah.
So the Red Eyes have a red block.
Yellow.
A regular Hellcat has a Hemi orange block, but with the Demon 170s, to honor the ethanol content percentage, they decided to do a yellow block. So this also has a chiller on it, stock. Just
That's
like
my favorite part. Yeah.
yeah, so it does a good job for a factory add-on thing. You can obviously go better with the aftermarket chillers and everything like that, but this is a great thing to have factory and under the warranty. That's what makes this Demon 170 special, is it's an 8-9 second car, right? So 8.9 seconds is what Dodge did with this thing in the quarter mile. With a warranty, like a 5-year warranty, you can beat the dog crap out of this thing, and if it breaks, dealership, they're fixing whatever broke. The diff, the transmission, the engine, if you could get one, that's another problem they're talking about too.
Have you taken it to the track?
I did, I have taken it to the track. There's a video on my channel. Didn't go really well. I didn't know all the features. I'm glad you brought that up, because another thing about this is the computer and the features that this thing has, right? This thing has line lock, it has a trans brake, and then it also has launch control. And there's different times that you want to use, like, say there's times that you want to use launch control over a trans brake. It just depends on really the conditions you have. So the transmission in here is a little bit different. The gearing, the rear diff in here is a lot different. I think it's a 309, but how the diff is designed, it's a more bulkier diff, and then the axles on here. So I have like a 1500 horsepower Trackhawk. You've probably seen it in the previous video. If not, we'll take a look at it. My aftermarket Trackhawk axles are probably about that big around, okay? The ones on here are like this. And maybe I'll send a video around. They're huge. Like, I could not believe how big they were when they put it on the rack. So
They really built this thing for the track.
well, the suspension on here is crazy, right? So this thing, for a lot of people that race, they know you want that weight transfer. So when you race these, you can see people that their front end comes a lot and that back end sags. So they did a lot of trick stuff with the suspension. Like I said before, they changed the transmission up a little bit. And another thing, right? Everybody knows a Hellcat or Moparts. That's a boat. That's a boat. Dodge really did all they could do besides like putting carbon fiber panels on here to take the weight out of this car. So this car is a lot lighter than a normal
What does
Hellcat.
it weigh? 40?
I think it's like 41 or 42. Don't quote me. I mean,
So about 100 off.
it also depends on the option. So like when Dodge ran their 8.9 in the quarter, what they had they had a cloth seat. This is like an upgraded, this is like,
Oh, this is leather and cloth.
yeah, so this is like the fancy upgraded interior, but it has the rear seat delete.
Okay, right there. See, no
Yep.
seats in the back, which they're useless regardless, so you don't really need them.
So how you option these out can dictate what times you're gonna run. I mean, if all you care about is
Wait,
racing,
what'd you run?
I probably have the slowest Demon 170 time out of all the Demon 170s. I ran a 10-1.
Oh,
But
that is horrible.
that's because I couldn't hook, because I didn't know how to use the line lock feature. Like, these cars are so smart, you have to know how to use them, and I was in a rush and I just wanted to get out there and make a video for my channel. And I was totally unprepared, but we're gonna go back to the track when Milan opens up. and
I'll
we're
be
gonna-
joining.
Yeah, I think the new opening day for Milan is gonna be June 18th. They redid the whole track. They redid the pit areas, the pulling area. Everything is gonna be redone. The IHRA bought it. It's gonna be like, they're trying to make that thing the best track in Michigan. I can't wait. I can't see what it's gonna do. But like I said, June 18th, hope you're gonna be there. This thing's gonna be there. And I plan on pulling these wheels up past the 60 foot. Like, I plan
Also-
on taking this thing off.
One question. These aren't the stock tires, are they?
Whoa, 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 whoa. You're looking
just-
too
just
close,
asking.
man.
These
You're
don't-
looking too close, okay?
They didn't look like,
Alright.
there's not a single, like, tread on here.
You're looking
What's
way
going
too
on
close,
here, man?
I tell you what's done with it, because
Oh, you know, you don't have to if you don't want to, but.
this is a stock-ish Demon, right? I've done a few little racer things that racers do that I've been told to do to make this thing hook. Because when I first got this thing, I would hit it from like a 60 in Mexico and it just blow the tires off. Wouldn't hook at all. And I'm like, I would do a burnout before I did it. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I got it in drag mode. That's another thing about this thing. It's at a special drag mode that changes the suspension and will like give you more lift in the front. I was doing everything and this car just would not hook at all. It was so infuriating. So I talked to a few racers. I'm not a real racer. I'm a YouTube guy. that likes to make entertaining content for you guys. So I talked to a few real racers and I'm like, hey, what can I do? And they're like, do this and do that. And as soon as I did those 2 things or 3 things, this thing hooks up like crazy now. I absolutely love this car. Yeah. I was kind of like, you know, when it wouldn't hook, it's like unusable on the street. It's like you could only take this thing to the drag trip. And everybody knows you don't want a car that you just have to take to the track. Like, you got a Trackhawk, I got a Trackhawk. One great thing about the Trackhawk is you can just stomp it from like a 30 or a 20 or a 40 and it's just gonna hook and book.
Yeah,
like, that's
all-wheel drive.
Yeah, even though this is like made for the drag strip, you still want to be able to use it a little bit within reason on the street. So the things that I've done,
also you don't have a sunroof, so that's probably like another 100 pound off.
Yeah, I mean,
but I love the color. If you guys remember, I've had the sublime green in my red eye years ago, and I love green. You guys have seen me have a bunch of green cars, so I'm glad that he got a green Demon 170. It's beautiful, and we're gonna take it out to Mexico and do some runs. Okay, I don't know how fair of a race this is, but when I heard he has a Demon 170, I was like, hey, let's do a race. And the reason I didn't bring my Trackhawk is because I've actually raced the Demon 170 with my Trackhawk, and that video is on the channel. I'll probably leave it in the description below. But it's just cool to see what a boat does versus, I would say this is another boat, because I weigh like 3,900 pounds. He weighs like 42.
That is a sports car. One question I had: a stock rim or stock tires?
Yeah, I mean, no. These come with Pirellis. These are Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss.
And this is X-Drive.
This is X-Drive, yeah.
I'm not a big Beamer guy, but man, when you pulled up today, I was like, it made me want a Beamer. This thing is the ultimate sports car, right? You were telling me like it gets crazy gas mileage.
Yeah,
like it's
I average like
18 a gallon.
17, 18.
And you're on E85.
Yeah, I probably get like 16. Yeah, about 16 with a blend.
And the Demon, I'm under 10. I'm at like 9.2. So big difference.
I didn't think you bought it for miles per gallon.
I didn't. But you know, there's just something about a Beamer, you know, the way the buckets are and everything. Yeah, but
the buckets, that's kind of what you're paying for.
In a race.
No, they're not, unfortunately.
Maybe on a date.
Maybe on a date they will.
Yeah.
But no, believe it or not, these things, when they're tuned on full E, they're insane, bro. Like, they're actually really, like, when these make 800 wheel, they can keep up with like 900 wheel horsepower cars. And the fastest G80, one of the fastest, just ran a 7.8 at 180.
A what?
At 180.
7.8.
7.8 at 180. And the guy drove his G80 3 hours to the track and then raced it. It wasn't on a trailer.
What was done with that?
It had a big single turbo and a bunch of other random stuff. Like, I would assume built motor, built trans, you know, the normal stuff. But the fact that mile per hour at 180 is insane.
And he drove it.
And he drove 3 hours. Like, that is insane. So this car is pretty similar to this car in the sense of modifying. Like, you could do so much to this car to make it faster. And the same thing with this. This is the German Hellcat, or some people call it the German muscle car.
This is like the modern day Supra from like the Mark IV Supra back in the day.
Yeah.
Because you can just build and tune these so easy to be so fast.
Yeah. No.
So I really think in like 10 years, people are going to look back at this car like, I want one. I want one real bad. I just can't afford it. It's out of my price range.
Out of your price. That's why you got the Demon. Anyways, guys, enough talking. We're going to let the cars do the talking. G80 M3 making 650 wheel horsepower, JB4, full exhaust, front mount intakes, catless downpipes versus a stock Demon 170 that makes 1,025 horsepower on E85. These cars are amazing to look at, but now we're gonna hit the highway and see how they perform. Let me know in the comments below, who do you think is gonna win? I think I'm gonna totally lose this race, but it's gonna be a good comparison. So let's take it to the GoPros. worst I've ever lost in a race. Those things are fast. I mean, again, but I am not making that much power. I'm at like 650 wheel. He's at like 620, 630 wheel. So there's like almost a 300 wheel horsepower difference. I kept up for a little while, and then he came around me like I was in reverse. We made it back safe in one piece, which is always a blessing.
What'd you think about that?
Man.
How'd you think that compared to the German engineering? American
It
muscle?
really didn't compare, honestly.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this thing's not
I mean,
completely stopped.
it's not. Are you ever gonna tell me like what's done to it?
If you want to know, I'll do it.
Yeah. Let's find out what's done to this thing.
Let me pop my hood so I can cool it down.
Okay. So, you know, he says it's not stock, but we don't know what's done to it. He wouldn't tell me before we raced. It's time to be honest.
I'm always going to be honest. I just might withhold the truth for a little bit longer.
Okay, yeah, well, whatever you say.
So, like I said before, the engine is completely stock, but I've learned from a few people online, there's some things you can do. So one of the things you can do, like I don't know if you can see this, this is a stock Demon 170 tire, 315, 50, 17, and it's a Mickey Thompson ET Street R. It's a great tire, it's just not the best tire you could have. You can see, obviously there's a lot of room here for improvement. This is all rubber that could be hooking the road and it doesn't. So these are a pro bracket. So pretty much a slick.
It is a slick.
If you come back here, you can see the whole tire wide. It's a slick.
Yep.
Same tire, well, I shouldn't say the same tire size. It's a 29.5 by 10.5 17, but it's just a lot better compound.
Is it as tall or no?
I'm not sure. I think they're about the same thing. It's when you get into the slicks, they start going by, instead of like 315 or anything like that, they start to go by like 29, 28. You ever heard of like fastest thing on 28s? Like people say that. That's like a special type of a racing.
So you got tires. What else?
Tires, right? So like I said previously in the video, this thing just would not hook, right? So everybody's like, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, you lose the weight. And that's true. But sometimes, like I said with women, it's all about where the weight's at, right? So
where's the weight in this?
So, like I said, I talked to a few different racers.
What do you got? That looks like honestly a body in here. What is this?
It weighs about as much as a body. So what these are, some people put sandbags. I couldn't find any good sandbags, so my grass is a little bit spotty. So I was like, what can I buy that I can use eventually? So this is like,
it's grass?
Yeah, it's grass seed with fertilizer.
Oh my god.
They're zip tied shut so it doesn't like bust open in here.
And then you got a spare in here too?
Yep. So it's a good old Trackhawk spare. So these bags are 40 pounds a piece. So 40, 80, 120, and then the Trackhawk tire. So
essentially, it's good for hooking, but you do weigh a little more.
Yeah. So all right. So like when I went to the track and I ran the 10-1, if I would have had weight in the back, it would have hooked. So yes, you're like they say in drag racing, every 100 pounds is 1/10 and a quarter mile. Say if you run a 10-0, if you lose 100 pounds out of the car, in theory you'll run a 9-9.
Yeah.
But with a real drive car, it's all about hooking. So you might have to add. So this is like weight bias. You might have to add weight to lose a 10th, but you're actually gaining like 3 or 4 or 5 tenths.
Because you're hooking.
Because you're hooking.
Spinning ain't winning. Okay.
Right. So I ran a 10-1 at the track with this, right? If I would have had this weight in there last time and done a better burnout, it might have ran 9-4.
Okay.
So
you got weight. What else? Anything else?
Well, I've done a few little things up front. So this car is front heavy, right?
Okay.
So I've taken some little things out of the front. You can take the front sway bar out of here, which loses a few pounds. And another thing that I do is I drain the coolant fluid. For those of you who don't know, fluid can sometimes be one of the biggest weights you can have.
You have no coolant in the car right now?
There's coolant in the car. There's no windshield wiper fluid.
Oh, okay.
So I drain you want to get as much weight off this front end as possible. So
okay. So you have no fluid.
Bare minimum, as much as I could get out.
Okay.
So
anything else?
And just little stuff like that. Nothing else I really want to give away. That's the basics of why the race turned out what it was. I'm telling you right now, if I wouldn't have had that weight back there, if I would have had those stock tires on, it would have been every time BMW for the win, BMW for the win, BMW for the win.
Okay, well, this is why I don't race racers. They always have tricks up their sleeve.
I'm not a racer.
I showed up with windshield fluid in my car, okay? I showed up with seats in my car. This guy does not have any seats in his car. Look at this. This is insanity. No seats in his car, okay?
You just gotta
And you have a body in the back. I'm over here with my heated seats. Like, come on,
This
man.
thing has heated seats.
You're
And
making
cool seats.
300 horse. Yeah, but you probably took that module out to save weight.
Mopar, baby. Like
Oh my
like
God.
it says right here.
American muscle. We get it. We get
American
it.
muscle, baby.
But you could have at least showed up like a normal Demon 170 to just make it a fair race.
This is the third time that we've beat the Germans. The last time was World War II, and now this time right here. So another win for America, baby.
Okay,
Mopar.
well, look, I love Mopar, so I'm not mad at it. But let me know what you guys think of these two races. Obviously, this thing makes way less power than this thing, but it was still a good comparison. These are, you know, some of the hottest cars out here, so I figured, hey, why not line them up against each other? Let me know what you guys think. Most of my fans are probably American Muscle fans, so they probably were very happy that the M3 lost. But that's all I got for you guys. Make sure to check out Cole's channel. I will leave it in the description below. And just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace!